So hello professor and thank you for clicking this video. So today I want to share the story of a man who truly shaped modern China and changed the course of global history. His name is Zhou Enlai. You might know him as the first premier of the People's Republic of China, but he was much more than just a politician. He was a master diplomat, a brilliant strategist, and the key architect of China's foreign policy. Today, we will look at his life, his remarkable diplomacy, and his lasting legacy. So, to understand the leader he became, we first need to look back at his early years. Let's start with part 1, his formative years and his rise to leadership. So, Zhou Enlai, yes, he was born in 1898 to a scholar family. This background gave him a deep respect for education and culture. In the early 1920s, he traveled to France and Germany to study. This was a turning point for him. Living in Europe opened his eyes to the world and helped him organize communist young groups. By 1924, he returned to China and became the political director at the famous Wenpo Military Academy. This role allowed him to build strong personal connections with leaders on both sides of Chinese politics. Later, in 1936, he played a crucial role in solving the Xiang incident. Instead of starting a civil war, he helped bring different groups together to fight against the Japanese invasion. This showed his early talent for peacemaking. So now let's move on to part 2. This is where Zhou Enlai truly shined. His incredible work in global diplomacy. So in 1955, Zhou Enlai went to Indonesia for the Bandung Conference. This was a historical meeting of newly independent Asia, and African countries. At the time, many countries were suspicious of China, but Zhou Enlai did something brilliant. He gave a famous speech where he urged everyone to seek common ground while reserving differences. In other words, he said we don't have to agree on everything, but we can work together on what we do agree on. This speech was a massive success. It made China a leader among developing nations and established the 5 principles of peaceful coexistence, which is still a big part of international relations today. So, perhaps his greatest diplomatic achievement happened in 1972. For over 20 years, the US and China they didn't talk to each other. Zhou Enlai worked behind the scenes to change this. First, he used ping pong diplomacy, inviting the US table tennis team to China to break the ice. Then he held a secret meeting with Henry Kissinger in 1971 to plan President Richard Nixon's historic visit to China in 1972. The handshake you see, you can see, I can't find it, I don't know why, between the Zhou Enlai and Nixon later reshaped the Cold War. It balanced the power between the US, China, and the Soviet Union, and opened China's doors to the Western world. So, but Zhou Enlai wasn't just working abroad. He had a massive job at home. Inside China, he was known as a highly practical administrator, while other leaders focused on political theory. Zhou Enlai focused on keeping the country running. He managed the budget, built roads, and kept food chains moving. He was also a vital shock absorber during the dangerous political storms, like a cultural revolution. He used his position and his mass to secretly protect important scientists, government officials, and historical places like the Forbidden City from being destroyed. So now, this brings us to our final section, part 3. Let's look at his domestic legacy and how he is remembered today. So, if we look at this slide, there is one number that stands out, 27. Zhou Enlai served as a premier of China for 27 years straight, from 1949 until he passed away in 1976. That is an incredible record of endurance in politics. He was a true workhorse, yeah. Often working 18 hours a day. Before his death, he proposed a major plan called the Four Modernizations, focusing on agriculture, industry, national defense, and science. This plan laid the foundation for China's massive economic boom in decades that followed. So now, to show you the real impact of his more diplomatic work, look at this chart. In 1950, right after China was founded, only 17 countries officially recognized the government by the time Zhou Enlai passed away in 1976. This number grew to 111 countries. This dramatic growth is direct proof of his hard work, charm, and intelligence as a diplomat. So, to sum up his personality, we can look at what his foreign rivals said about him. Henry Kissinger, like I mentioned above, the U.S. Secretary of State who spent hours negotiating with him, once said Zhou Enlai was one of the most remarkable men I've ever met. Yeah, it was brilliantly, a master of detail, especially elegant, and had an extraordinary capacity and bridge divisions. This shows that even his political opponents highly respected his character. I think the time is really running out. Yeah. So Zhou Enlai passed away in January 1976. Today he is still remembered in China as a devoted leader and around the world as one of 20th century's greatest statesmen. Thank you for very much for your time, for providing you. I will be happy to answer your question. Maybe you can send you from your email. And yeah, this is our presentation. This is my presentation. Thank you, everyone.